The Rangers had a big closer problem in 2025, but is the solution in 2026 to throw big money at a closer? Talk about all that and more on this episode of Locked On Rangers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers, the first and best daily Rangers podcast. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan, covering this team for 12 seasons, including all 7 as the founder and host of this podcast. Thank you so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. Part of the Locked On Rangers podcast network, now the #1 sports podcast network. If you're not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, on today's show, we're talking a little bit about the awards that have just been unannounced this past week. We're going to talk about the top tier closers on this market, if the Rangers can even afford them, and who, if they do choose to spend big money on a closer, they should go after. Before we get into all that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. Now, the Rangers ended this awards season with very few awards given out to their players. They got a Gold Glove for Marcus Semien. Nobody was even nominated for a Silver Slugger finalist, but they also did get one actual just national award, which was the Comeback Player of the Year award, given to Jacob deGrom for, after missing most of the last 2 seasons, coming back and being an all-star and being 8th place in the Cy Young voting this year. He was behind the likes of Tarek Skubal, who won his 2nd consecutive award, Garrett Crochet, who had a phenomenal season, Hunter Brown, Max Fried, Brian Wu, Carlos Rodon, and Aroldis Chapman. That one sticks in my craw just a little bit. I really do think that Jacob deGrom was better than Chapman and also better than Carlos Rodon. I think was just probably should have been, I'd say top 5, but a couple of rough month of August, I should say, is really the only reason that Jacob deGrom is not in this top 10. I am very surprised and frustrated that Nathan Eovaldi didn't get any votes. I mean, the man had a phenomenal season. He had more innings pitched than Trevor Rogers and a better ERA, but still Trevor Rogers somehow gets a vote at the bottom end of this list. He only made 18 starts, had a 1.8 ERA. Nathan Eovaldi made more starts than that, had 130 innings versus 109 innings, and he had a 1.7 ERA, but he couldn't get any votes. That just feels odd and wrong. Drew Matheson getting votes over Nathan Eovaldi still also feels a bit wrong, but it is what it is. And the MVP voting is incredibly frustrating because Corey Seager was an incredibly valuable player, and the Rangers were a completely different team with him on the field versus him off the field, but he couldn't get a singular vote. Not a single vote in this MVP race. And you get votes all the way up to 10th place. 10th place. There's 30 voters and they have 10 people to vote on. So 300 votes and not a single one. But Bo Bichette can get a 8th and a 9th place vote. Riley Green can get multiple votes. Aroldis Chapman, Yandy Diaz, Jacob Wilson on an 85-plus loss team can get an MVP vote, but Corey Seager can't with a 6 WAR season in 102 games. It feels insane. I feel like I'm going completely insane. A guy who was in the top 5 of AL position player WAR can't get a singular MVP vote. But alas, that's what it is. That is the life that we have been dealt, Corey Seager being vastly unappreciated, but Rangers fans know exactly how good this man is. And Jack Leiter finishes 7th in AL Rookie of the Year voting. That's about where he deserved to be. He had a great season. If we just went on the second half, then maybe Jack Leiter finishing top 5 in MVP voting. But there was a lot of really, really good rookies this year that did not play the entirety of the season. I mean, Rowan Anthony putting up a 3 WAR season in 71 games, and Colson Montgomery doing the same. Actually, a little bit better of a war 3.3 war in exactly the same number of games. I mean, Colson Montgomery, that dude's special. I mean, look out for the White Sox in 2026. They're going to be scrappy and very annoying to play. He's behind also Noah Cameron, who had a great season for the Royals, the only pitcher who finished ahead of him. He finished ahead of Will Warren. He also finished ahead of Cam Smith of the Houston Astros, who was just unbelievably hyped. Somehow Shane Smith makes the all-rookie team ahead of Jack Leiter, but finishes 3 places lower than him in Rookie of the Year voting. I don't really know how that math is mathing. It's not adding up in my head, but alas, this is what it is. A great season for Jack Leiter, great season for Corey Seager, and for Nathan Eovaldi and Jacob deGrom, despite not finishing as high as, not getting as many votes as they should have. But I think a lot of that comes down to the performance of this team that could have been a little bit better if they had a better closer, could have had a few more wins if the Rangers maybe had a better closer. And there are a lot of great closers. I mean, truly fantastic closers at the top of this market. And I want to look at that today because the Rangers, they'll need a closer, a certified closer at the top end of this, I guess the back end of this bullpen, whatever side of the bullpen finishes off the games. That's where the Rangers need a big old closer. And there are a lot of guys who are going to get a lot of money this offseason. Let's start with a guy who Spotrac says is going to get paid the most amongst relievers this year. That's Edwin Diaz, heading into his age 32 season, projected to sign a 4-year, $73.5 million deal. That's $18.3 million per year. This guy has been just the peak of consistency as a closer. He only missed time in 2023 because of the World Baseball Classic, celebrating a great win by Puerto Rico, and a freak knee injury took him out for the entirety of that season. He has been exceptional with the New York Mets, and it wasn't his best season because that was 2022 where he finished top 10 in Cy Young voting. Didn't get any Cy Young votes this year, mainly because the National League just had a lot of great starting pitchers, but a 1.6 ERA, an all-star appearance, 98 strikeouts in just 66 innings, and 28 saves. That is a fantastic season for Edwin Diaz. He's just a 2-pitch pitcher, literally just 2 pitches, fastball, slider. That's all he needs. You look at his baseball savant page, it is just full of red. I mean, truly full of red. I mean, he does have a changeup that he threw literally once, but that is basically who he has been the last couple of years. He is elite at getting strikeouts, getting swings and misses, getting chases out of the zone, being expected batting average, expected ERA. All those are fantastic. A 1.6 ERA is nothing to shake your head at. And when you're doing it in 66 and a third innings and nearly 100 strikeouts, and you're not even to the 70 inning mark, that is the mark of a great closer. I mean, he has had consistently elite strikeout stuff. He's got over 250 career saves. This is a guy who you can trust to go out there every day that you need him and close out games. I mean, he's been closing out games since he came up into the big leagues back in 2016 with Chicago. I mean, the lowest amount of saves, the fewest amount of saves he's had in a single season is 6, and that was back in 2020, where he only pitched in 26 games, and the Mets, I don't think, won all that many games. He has led baseball in saves in seasons past. Back in 2018 with Seattle, a 57 save season, a 196 back with the 2018 Mariners, who still did not make the postseason despite having that monster back there at the back end of their pen. I mean, he has been a truly unbelievable and incredibly consistent as a closer. Not something you get often. So I think this 4-year, $73 million deal, I think that's lowballing him. I think he gets 5 years. I think he might get more than Josh Hader did because he has been a closer for longer, and there's less questions about his ability to go out there for multiple innings if need be, to go out there on days rest. There were some of those concerns with Josh Hader, which is understandable when he was heading into his free agency, that he didn't want to go and pitch every other day and just pitch and risk injuring himself before he got what ended up being so far the largest free agent relief contract in MLB history at 5 years, $95 million. Edwin Diaz could surpass that. I mean, the Mets have a lot of money to spend. He has been with them since 2019. He has been incredibly consistent. Really only one bad season. That was that first year, 2019. He still had 26 saves that year, but he had an ERA north of 5.5. Other than that, he's been incredibly consistent with New York, a sub-3 ERA for his career there in 6 years. I know they want him back. I know that Steve Cohen has got all the money in the world to spend, and $18 million a year on a closer, which would probably be closer to $20 million a year on a closer who is still in his early 30s. This is a guy who I think is going to get paid a whole lot of money. Also looking at, still in his mid 30s, literally born the day after me, makes me feel just a little bit older to talk about this guy of like, I don't know. He is, entering those early mid 30s, but this is, if you're going to spend big money on a closer, this is the guy. I don't think the Rangers will be able to outbid the Mets or whoever else is trying to go spend all the money in the world on a closer. They will have a lot more things they need to address than just a closer. But if you're spending money on a closer, you're spending a crap ton of money on somebody. Edwin Diaz, I think, has got to be at the top of this list. Coming up, we're going to talk about some other guys at the top end of this list, some truly elite closers. One of them coming off of a down year. Is it a sign of things to come, or is it just a one-year blip? Talk about that and more right after this. This show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game, you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. They got all kinds of different lines on the NBA. Let's look at some of these award races right now. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the favorite to win the MVP at plus 150. Luka Doncic, the second favorite at plus 500. I don't know what you have to do to be the favorite if scoring 40 points and averaging basically a 40-point triple-double for the first few weeks of the season isn't enough to make you the MVP favorite. Right now, Cooper Flagg, pretty comfortably the NBA Rookie of the Year favorite at minus 125. VJ Edgecombe, I'm not sure on the pronunciation there, is the second favorite at plus 280, but Cooper Flagg is already running away, it seems like, with this award because he is absolutely fantastic. So right now, FanDuel offers new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Shout out to everybody for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On Monday's show, I'll be back and talking about some mid-tier guys on this free agent list in the back end of the bullpen, what the Rangers could do if they don't think they can break the bank, which if you listen to yesterday's episode, that is probably the case for them this year. The next guy on this list, I am going not with Spotrac's contract projections because they have Devin Williams signing a 1-year, $5 million deal. I don't see any world in which that happens. I don't see a world where Devin Williams doesn't get at least multiple years, unless someone wants to sign him to a 1 year, like 25, something crazy on a season to just build back some value. But I don't think that is the case. I looked at justbaseball.com and their contract projections. They had a pretty wide range for Devin Williams. I picked somewhere in the middle of 4 years, $75 million. That's $15 million per year. If my math is mathing correctly. No, it is not. My math is not mathing correctly. That's about $18.5 million per year. I did bad at doing average math. Devin Williams is 31 years old. And if not for Edwin Diaz, I mean, it's hard to have someone that's more consistent than Edwin Diaz. But if you throw 2025 out the window, if you just say, hey, that doesn't count, takes these backsies, we're not actually counting that as a real year, then Devin Williams is the most consistent reliever on this market. But you can't do that. Last year with the Yankees, New York traded for him. They traded away Caleb Durbin, who was fantastic for the Milwaukee Brewers, a D3 baseball legend. They also traded away Nestor Cortez, who was less good for the Milwaukee Brewers, but they paid a hefty price because Caleb Durbin's under contract for a long, long time. He finished pretty high up in the Rookie of the Year voting, had a great season, and Devin Williams did not have the best season for the New York Yankees. A 4.79 ERA, nearly double, not quite double, but nearly double what he had done in the past. It's more than double what his career average was for ERA in Milwaukee. His career ERA as a member of the Brewers is 1.83. Let me say that again. His career ERA in 6 years in Milwaukee is 1.83, coming off of a 1.25 season, in the best season that maybe any reliever has had in a long time. In that shortened COVID season, pitched in more than a third of the games, gave up one earned run. one earned run in 27 innings in 2020 as a rookie, won Rookie of the Year, finished 7th in Cy Young voting, got MVP votes as well. I mean, this guy was awesome, and he was incredibly consistent for the Milwaukee Brewers basically every year. He had a bilateral back fracture in 2024, and so he missed a lot of that season, still pitched in 22 games, tallied up 14 saves. He's got 86 saves in his career because he was backing up the best closer in the game at the time in 2020 and 2021, and I believe parts of 2022 as well when they had Josh Hader at the helm in that closer role. But this guy has been exceptional. Still end of the year with 18 saves and a 4.79 ERA, 62 innings, 90 strikeouts. So the strikeouts are still there. He relies on an airbender. It is technically a changeup. It is its own pitch. It is possibly the most unique pitch in all of Major League Baseball. Nobody has anything quite like it. It is really up there in terms of the best pitches in Major League Baseball. The Splinker by Paul Skeens, I think that might be the best pitch in baseball. Maybe the changeup by Tarek Skubal is maybe the best pitch in baseball. There's a couple other ones of Zach Wheeler's fastball or Jacob Ground's slider. Like all of those are, in special tier pitches, but it just terms of the nothing anywhere close to like it. Devin Williams' airbender is way, way up there. This guy, you look at a lot of the expected numbers, and this year you could chalk that up to being pretty darn fluky. I mean, that is, if you're wanting to go spend a whole bunch of money on Devin Williams, that is kind of what you would want to do. He has had problems with walks in the past. He has been great at limiting home runs and limiting hits. This year, 6.5 hits per 9. That was a career high if you do not count the 2019 season where he pitched in 13 games. 6.5. That was a career high in full seasons that he's played. That's insane. This year was also better with the walks than he's been in seasons past. He's been more around 4.5-ish walks per 9 in the past. This year at 3.5. Still a lot of strikeouts, 13 Ks per 9 for his career, 14 Ks per 9. That is truly exceptional stuff. But the back injury definitely scares me. Coming off of a bad season scares me. I think somebody's going to give him at least 3-4 years. Maybe someone goes 5. Maybe Devin Williams ends up being the highest paid closer on this market. But I don't think the Rangers are going to win a bidding war between the Yankees and the whoever. Actually, I don't know if the Yankees are going to want to bid top tier money to bring Devin Williams back after a rough season. But that guy is supremely talented and one of the many great closers on this market. Another guy in the very top of the top tier is Robert Suarez, who is heading into his age 35 season. Robert Suarez is truly a unique character in Major League Baseball. Did not make his big league debut until age 31. He's been with the Padres in all of his 4 big league season. Was an all-star this year, was an all-star last year, led the league with 40 saves this year, had 36 saves last year, had a 2.97 ERA, right under 10 Ks per 9. And this is a guy who didn't start his professional career until he was 24 years old. That's not something you can usually say about guys who are at the top tier of this list. So I know he's a little bit on the older side, he's heading into his age 35 season, but there's not a whole lot of mileage on this arm. And this guy is very much a fastball reliant pitcher. I mean, he throws 60% four-seam fastballs, 16% two-seam fastballs, and 24% changeup. He's also got a cutter that he doesn't use very often. He has a slider that he just kind of scrapped this year. He had used it in seasons past, but really actually didn't use it much the last couple of years, used it more in 2023 and had a curveball that he used when he first came over and then just straight up shoved that and says, hey, what if I just throw entirely fastballs? And it works for him. It really, really works for him. I mean, 40 saves and 69 and 2/3 innings. This is a very, very good closer who has also got just truly elite velocity in his, mid 30s. He's averaging 98.6 miles an hour on the fastball this year. That is truly special stuff. He's projected to sign a 4-year, $67 million total deal. That's averaging about $17 million per year. I think 4 years is a lot to give to a guy who's heading into his age 35 season, but this is a unique case because there's not a whole lot of mileage on that arm. He has been pretty darn consistent for the last couple of seasons. His first year, or I guess his second year in the major leagues, was a little rough. Only 26 games, missed some time, had an ERA north of 4. But other than that, a 2.97 this year, a 2.77 with 36 saves in 2024. And his rookie year, 45 games, a 2.27 ERA. This guy has averaged a little over 9.5 strikeouts per 9 in his career. He does not walk guys. He does not give up hard contact, does not give up a lot of hits or home runs. This guy has been very consistent for the last couple of seasons, and it's easy to see why someone is probably going to want to give this guy 4 years, even though he is heading into his mid-30s. Coming up, we got a guy who is from Oklahoma, from Rangers country, who might have the best velocity of anybody on this list. Talk about who it is and what the Rangers might or might not give him right after this. The next guy on this list, talking about Ryan Helsley, the flamethrower, formerly with the Cardinals, most recently with the New York Mets, a trip that did not go very well for Ryan Helsley. This is a guy who has maybe the fastest fastball in Major League Baseball, averages 99.3 miles an hour with that fastball, but don't get it twisted. The slider is his best pitch by far. The fastball, there's not a whole lot of command there. It is basically just a blow it by you kind of a fastball. He throws 47% sliders, 45% four-seamers, 6% curveballs, and 1% of the cutter. And in years past, this guy has been an incredibly effective closer. I mean, he led Major League Baseball with 49 saves in 2024. 49 saves. He had 14 the year before in 2023, 19 in 2022. This year, he had 21 saves, all of them with the St. Louis Cardinals before he got traded to the Mets. Before he got traded to the Mets, I mean, he was putting together a pretty solid season, an ERA of 3, averaging over 10 Ks per 9. Then he gets traded to the Mets, and things went awful. I mean, truly awful once he got traded to the Mets. 22 games there, 20 innings, a 7.20 ERA. And things just were ugly. I mean, he averaged 5 walks per 9, basically 2 homers per 9, more than a hit per inning. I mean, it was rough. But in years past, you cannot teach velocity. You cannot teach a guy, sitting 99 to 101 miles an hour. That's not something you can just teach a guy how to do. And so for that reason, he's going to be paid pretty well. I mean, 79 strikeouts and a 2.04 ERA in 2024. He's probably going to get at least a 3-year deal. He's heading into his age 31 season, projected to sign a 3-year, $41 million deal, $13.6 million per year. I mean, this guy is very, very wild. The walks, he very much beats himself with walks, averaging 3.7 walks per 9. It's kind of varied quite a bit early on in his career. I mean, he really, really struggled with the ERA, and he was not a closer because you could not trust him in the 9th inning because he would just walk the bases loaded and get himself into these big predicaments. And that's not what you want for your closer. And so for that reason, I would be very hesitant for the Rangers to go and spend big money on Ryan Helsley. I'm sure someone will, probably after all of these top 3 guys right here in Edwin Diaz, Devin Williams, and Robert Suarez are off the board. Someone's going to say, hey, we need a closer. Let's go throw some money on Ryan Helsley and see if we can teach him to throw strikes like Aroldis Chapman somehow figured out how to throw strikes in his late 30s. Maybe at 31, Ryan Helsley can also learn how to throw strikes. Next guy on this list, Pete Fairbanks, former Rangers great. Oof, this is one of the trades in Rangers history that you look back and you think, oof, that one really did not go the Rangers' way. One of those other ones you can maybe look a little bit differently at now is the Corey Kluber trade because, even though the Rangers only got 1 inning out of Corey Kluber, at least Corey Kluber didn't end up getting arrested. So maybe that's a win for the Rangers in retrospect, but Pete Fairbanks, the accountant, as they call him, because he looks like an accountant, Rangers 9th round pick back in 2015, a guy who came back from Tommy John surgery and then immediately started chucking absolute fire gas, just jumped basically from the lowest level of full season baseball to the big leagues in a year because he was just blowing everybody away. The Rangers traded him away for Nick Solak, and that we all know how that went and worked out. Tampa Bay Rays got one of the best closers in baseball, and the Rangers got Nick Solak. Not exactly an even trade. There was an option for the Rays to keep him this year. I believe it was around $13 million. They said, no, thank you, because we are poor. And also, we're not sure how much Pete Fairbanks is going to hold up. The strikeout rate got way, way down this year from where it's been in seasons past. Still good. I mean, still in the 60th percentile, still not really beating himself with walks, but just a little concerned for sure about the strikeout rate. I mean, it's just been not anywhere near where it had been in years past. I mean, from 2020 to 2023, it was around, 12 to 13 to 14 strikeouts per nine. This year, it was below 9 Ks per nine. Same with 2024. That makes me just a little bit nervous. Still good at preventing runs. He's heading into his age 32 season. The fastball velocity is still there. The breaking ball just isn't quite as sharp, and the slider was really, really nasty when things were working well for him, or working, I guess, at the best for him in 2020 to 2023. This year, the slider's kind of backed up a little bit. The changeup's not quite as good. The cutter's like fine, but I'm just a little bit nervous about that. Projected to sign a 3-year, $41 million deal, 13.8 years, 13.8 million average annual value. I'm just a little hesitant if the Rays let a guy walk. Usually it's because they know something more than you do. And if they're staying away, I might be more inclined to stay away. But if the Rangers still want a guy who has got closer experience, this could be a guy to go kick the tires on. He's not old by any means. I'd trust giving him, $14 million a year, a whole lot more than I would trust giving it to Ryan Helsley. But just a little bit cautious on Pete Fairbanks is where I'd say I am. Next guy on this list is somebody who I talked about earlier this week, Kenley Jansen, heading into his age 38 season. This is a guy who is just the epitome of a closer, leading all active players with 476 saves. I believe he's got to be top 5, I think, on the all-time saves list. I don't think he is going to ever catch Mariano Rivera unless he pitches until he's 45 years old and averages, 25, 30 saves a season. That might be a bit difficult to do. But this year, a 2.59 ERA, 29 saves in 59 innings with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. A 1-year, $10 million contract is what he signed last time. He might sign a 1-year, $13.7 million contract. That's about what he's projected to sign this year. The strikeouts have been dropped off pretty significantly this year, less than a strikeout per inning, where in his career he had been averaging 12.4 Ks per nine. He was hit a whole lot harder than he had been in seasons past. That makes me very, very nervous. I would not want the Rangers to go and sign this guy at $14 million for 1 year. I mean, a 1-year deal, it's one of the deals you can't really get burned on too badly, but some of the peripheral numbers just make me very, very worried that he was overachieving with the Angels. And this could be a guy that you could get burned on pretty badly for a 1-year deal. But if the Rangers are having such a limited budget, spending such a significant amount on it on one closer, a guy who is old, he's old. He's old. There is no getting around that. He's not a guy who, lives and dies by throwing 100 miles an hour. And because he's getting older, he's losing that velocity and he's losing that thing that makes him effective. But whatever makes him effective, he is losing a little bit of that by not having the strikeouts per nine that he had in seasons past. Maybe with Jordan Teagues as the Rangers' new pitching coach, who had done an excellent job as the Rangers bullpen coach in seasons past. Maybe he can get something new out of a 38-year-old, but usually there's not a whole lot new to get out of a guy who's 38 years old. He had a good season last year. He'll probably be maybe a fine closer wherever he goes this year, but I would be very, very hesitant. If the Rangers want to go with a guy in his mid to late 30s who has closer experience, I would be more likely to go with Emilio Pagan, who spent the last 2 seasons with the Cincinnati Reds, finished the year with 32 saves on the season, a career high. He had been a closer in seasons past, but really hadn't been a primary closer since 2019 when he was the Tampa Bay Rays closer. He had 20 saves that year, a 2.31 ERA in 70 innings. This year, a 2.88 ERA in 70 games and 10.5 strikeouts per nine, which is right around his career average. A guy who doesn't beat himself with walks, doesn't beat himself with home runs. That's what you love to see in a closer, a guy who is not going to get beat by the long ball and not going to beat himself by giving up a bunch of free base runners. Had some experience in that closer's role. And because the Reds were such an overachieving team, Emilio Pagan played a big role in the Reds just sneaking into the postseason. He is 34 years old now, heading into his age 35 season. Finished last year with a 2.0 baseball reference score, which is pretty tough to do as a reliever. This is a guy who is solid, who's got closer experience, projected to sign a 1-year, $12.3 million deal. I think that is very, very reasonable for the Rangers to go out and get a closer, a guy who has got that experience, who is just coming off of a great season. If the Rangers see what he is and they like it, then I think they will definitely more than kick the tires on it. Lives with the four-seam fastball, splitter, cutter kind of a guy. I mean, similar repertoire to what Kirby Yates was throwing out there. Not a guy who lives a whole lot on velocity. Still a little bit more velo than Kirby Yates was sporting, even at his peak. I mean, he averaged 95.8 miles an hour with the fastball last year. Rangers love a guy with a good splitter. I mean, they really, really do love a guy with a good splitter. Nathan Eovaldi, Kirby Yates, I mean, see those guys as the primary examples. It is just such an effective pitch, and I kind of wish that Jack Leiter would start throwing a splitter. I think that would be super, super valuable with his arsenal, but that is a completely side note. I think Emilio Pagan, if the Rangers are going to go get a guy who is coming off of a great season, who has got closer experience, I mean, a 30-save season with 80 strikeouts in under 70 innings, that is a great guy to go get, and not going to be nearly as expensive as some of the other guys on this list. The Rangers might be priced out of basically everybody on this list. I think Pete Fairbanks would be in their range. I think basically anyone from Pete Fairbanks, Kenley Jansen, Emilio Pagan, Helsley would be in their price range, I think, but I am terrified of giving a guy with absolutely zero command. Anything more than a 2-year deal would just absolutely terrify me, especially with how horrible he was down the stretch with the Mets. Now, he had been more consistent with the Cardinals, but I think Emilio Pagan, if the Rangers are going to go spend money on a guy who is a legit certified closer, I would feel very, very comfortable with them going and giving him a 1-year deal. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all so much for listening and subscribing. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.